Michu, a lanky Spanish midfielder with a scruffy ponytail, showed up at Swansea City for just £2 million. Nobody really knew who he was. And then, boom, 22 goals in his debut season. Left foot, right foot, headers, everything he touched went in. He made scoring look so easy, it felt like he was playing against amateurs. For a while, fans were calling him the Spanish Van Persie. There was talk of Real Madrid, even a Spain call-up, and he actually got one. But just as fast as he blew up, it all crumbled. Injuries started piling up, ankle problems. He lost his sharpness, and suddenly, the goals dried up. Swansea let him go, and a couple of years later, Michu retired at the age of 31. He was a Premier League star for just one season, but if you watched him during that run, you'll never forget how electric he was. Federico Macheda. In April 2009, Manchester United were level with Liverpool in the title race. They were tied with Aston Villa. Fergie brought on a 17-year-old unknown Italian kid named Federico Macheda. And then it happened. That spin, that shot, that goal. Macheda curled in the winner during stoppage time, and Old Trafford exploded. It felt like a movie. This random teenager had saved United's title hopes. Next week, he scored again. People went crazy. Kiko was seen as the next big star. But that's the thing about moments. They don't always turn into careers. Macheda couldn't stay consistent. He failed to make it into the main team. He was loaned out to Sampdoria, Stuttgart, and several championship clubs. Nothing ever really worked out. Jeremy Menez. If you were into football in the late 2000s, you probably heard about Jeremy Menez. He had that raw talent, dribbling that made defenders look silly, crazy pace, and this effortless swagger. He played for Roma, PSG, AC Milan, and every now and then, you'd see a highlight reel and think, why isn't this guy a superstar? And for one stretch, especially with AC Milan in 2014, he kinda was. He scored 16 goals in Serie A, including a few screamers and ridiculous solo runs. But the thing with Menez, he never stayed locked in. Injuries, attitude issues, inconsistency. One week he'd play like a world beater, the next he'd disappear. Clubs got tired of waiting for him to grow up. He faded out of the big leagues, bounced around, and kinda just faded from memory. Alexander Hleb. Alexander Hleb had this quiet genius about him. He wasn't flashy, but when he played for Arsenal, he made everything smoother. He'd drift past players, link up with Fabregas, and always made the right pass at the right time. In that 2007-08 season, he was low-key one of their best players. Fans didn't always notice him, but teammates did. He was the glue. Then, in 2008, he got an offer from Barcelona. And yeah, who says no to Barca? But man, it just didn't work. He couldn't break into that stacked midfield. Barely played, confidence gone. He even said later, leaving Arsenal was my biggest mistake. After that, his career never recovered. He bounced around between Russia, Turkey, Belarus, never the same. One of those guys who was amazing in the right system, but one bad move and poof, it was over. Ryan Babel. You know how some players always feel like they're about to blow up, but never do? That's Ryan Babel. Back in 2007, Liverpool signed him as this exciting Dutch winger with crazy pace and a rocket shot. And for a minute, he looked special. Scored a few bangers, could tear down the wing, had moments of real magic. But he never nailed down a starting spot. One week he was starting in the Champions League. The next, he was on the bench, subbed in the 89th minute. He left Liverpool and started hopping clubs, Germany, Turkey, Spain, even back to the Netherlands. And weirdly, he kinda had a second wind in his late 20s. Played well at Galatasaray, got back into the Dutch national team. But that Liverpool era hype, it never fully came back. Babel had all the tools, but sometimes the timing, the system, the confidence just doesn't all click at once. Ricardo Quaresma. If you love stepovers, rabonas, and outside foot crosses, you loved Ricardo Quaresma. This guy had flair for days. At Porto, he was unstoppable. like a freestyle footballer dropped into a real game. And somehow it worked. People thought he'd be Portugal's next big star after Ronaldo. He had the moves, the pace, and that signature Trivela cross. But the issue? He never liked playing within a system. He'd do 5 tricks when one would have worked. And if you benched him, his confidence would drop fast. He flopped at Inter, didn't fit at Chelsea, had a few revivals, came back to Porto, played in Turkey, even showed up in the 2016 Euros and cooked off the bench. But for a guy that talented, his peak lasted way too short. Quaresma was fun, wild, a show, but shows don't always win trophies. Andre Schürrle. Andre Schürrle had that perfect mix of speed, finishing, and work rate. When he was on, he looked like a coach's dream. He played a big role at Chelsea, helped Germany to win the 2014 World Cup, and gave that legendary assist to Mario Götze in the final. But after that, something changed. He went back to the Bundesliga, did okay with Wolfsburg and Dortmund, but injuries and form kept messing him up. By the time he hit 29, he was done, retired out of nowhere, said he was burned out, tired of the pressure, the expectations, the grind. You could feel he meant it. This wasn't about not getting game time. It was about not enjoying the game anymore. Schürrle won it all, but sometimes that doesn't mean it was ever really fun. Alen Halilovic. When people call you the Croatian Messi at age 16, it either goes really well or really bad. For Alen Halilovic, it was the second one. He had the touch, the dribble, the left foot, and when Barcelona signed him as a teenager, people thought, this kid's gonna be huge. He played for Barca B, then got loaned out again. Spain, Germany, Italy, never settled anywhere. The worst part? He never looked bad. He just never looked confident, never looked free. He's still only 28, but right now he's bouncing between second-tier clubs, and that next Messi tag is long gone. It's not that Halilovic failed, he just never became the player we were sold on. Renato Sanchez. After Euro 2016, Renato Sanchez was the guy. He was 18, playing like a grown man, winning balls, breaking lines. He helped Portugal to lift the trophy. Then, Bayern Munich signed him for a huge fee, and that's where things went sideways. He just wasn't ready for that kind of jump. New country, new language, big pressure. He looked lost. No confidence, poor touches, strange decisions. They even sent him on loan to Swansea and it got worse. There's this infamous clip where he passes the ball straight to an advertising board. But to his credit, he didn't quit. He rebuilt at Lille, became a key player, won League One, and now he's hanging around top-level football again. Still, that crazy hype from 2016, it never came back. Sometimes the spotlight finds you before you're ready to handle it. Alexandre Pato. Man, Alexandre Pato was different. When he broke out at AC Milan, it felt like we were watching a future Ballon d'Or winner. But his body couldn't keep up. Injuries kept piling up. Thighs, hamstrings, ankles. Every time he found form, something broke down. He had one great season with 14 Serie A goals, then got injured again. After that, he bounced around. Corinthians, Chelsea, Villarreal, China, even MLS. Flashes of brilliance, but never for long. If he'd stayed healthy, who knows what he could have been. Instead, we're left with highlights and a big what if. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what kind of stories you want to see next. And if you're into videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Catch you in the next one.